I have been drawing and learning about plants from the Amaryllis family for a while now. Most of the plants I studied from this family were new to me, so in this study I wanted to focus on something more familiar, the Narcissus family. The flowers from the Narcissus genus are commonly known as daffodils or jonquils, and they are among the most recognizable spring blooms in the world. Native to Europe and North Africa, these bulbous perennials are celebrated for their trumpet shaped flowers and fresh, cheerful colors that often mark the end of winter. They've been cultivated and hybridized into hundreds of varieties, ranging from the classic yellow daffodil to delicate white or bicolor forms. Beyond their ornamental value, Narcissus species have long been part of art, literature, and symbolism, often representing rebirth, vanity, or the arrival of spring itself. I think it is very inspiring to find out about plants which can be symbols of many things, but when you look at examples like this, you can see that flowers often carry layered and even contradictory meanings, and Narcissus is a perfect example of this symbolic duality. In Western traditions, it is often seen as a symbol of vanity and self obsession, rooted in the ancient Greek myth of Narcissus, the youth who fell in love with his own reflection. Yet in Eastern cultures, the same flower represents prosperity, wealth, and good fortune, a positive emblem of renewal and success. In Persian poetry, Narcissus takes on yet another meaning, admired as a metaphor for beautiful eyes. Despite its beauty, there are also darker associations because the blooms often nod downward. They have been viewed as omens of sorrow or misfortune, and white varieties are sometimes called grave flowers. In ancient Greece, they were planted near tombs and linked to the myth of Persephone and the underworld, a reminder of the thin line between life and death and rebirth. So, throughout history, the Narcissus has appeared also in art across civilizations, mythologies, and artistic traditions, each culture seeing something different in its delicate nodding bloom. In ancient Greece, it carried profound mythic weight linked to both Narcissus and Persephone, and thus to themes of beauty, vanity, death, and rebirth. Greek and Roman poets used it as a bridge between worlds, a flower growing on the banks of the underworld's rivers, yet returning to bloom each spring. This duality made it both a sacred and ominous symbol. Later, in Western art and literature, it became a poetic emblem of reflection and melancholy. In literature, writers such as Shakespeare celebrated the daffodil's elegance and its quiet connection to memory and solitude, while painters found its form a subtle reminder of renewal and mortality. In contrast, in the East, the Narcissus took a brighter meaning. In China, especially, the Narcissus became a cherished New Year flower symbolizing luck, prosperity, and good fortune. Its careful cultivation and carving even becoming a refined art form. In Persian and Islamic culture, its likeness to the human eye gave rise to centuries of poetic imagery where the eyes of the Narcissus stood for beauty, perception, and divine creation. Across continents and eras, this single genus has been reimagined countless times, embodying everything from spiritual purity to the fragility of human desire, a perfect example of how one simple flower can hold an entire world of meaning. I always knew about daffodils, but I had no idea there was so much history and symbolism behind them. Sure, I knew about the Greek myths, but others were new. Learning about how a single flower can hold so many different meanings across cultures is truly fascinating. Studying all these plants has made me realize that I'd love to include my own kind of botanical lore in my world building project one day. I remember reading the Dragonlance books when I was younger. Those small symbolic details like sacred flowers or animals' emblems made the world feel alive and full of mystery, even though it was epic fantasy and far from realistic. It's that blend of imagination and meaning that I'd love to capture in my own work someday. In the Dragonlance series, symbolism is woven deeply in the world's culture and storytelling, making it layered. For example, the kingfisher often appears as a symbol of freedom, hope, or guidance, while roses can represent love, sacrifice, or hidden beauty. These motifs are not just decorative, they carry meaning for characters like the Knights of Solomnia, or sometimes locations or even events, helping to reinforce the themes of the story. Such symbolic use of flora and fauna can be a powerful source of inspiration for world building. By assigning specific meanings to animals, plants, or natural features in a fictional world, a creator can imbue it with depth and coherence. So I would like to think about things like the type of flower growing in a sacred grove, or the birds that accompany certain characters. What are the people's use for flowers, or is it only decorative? Do they have flowers near graves? Do flowers have magical properties? So any flower can be a part of these questions, giving it a sense of history, culture, and hidden stories waiting to be discovered. So that is why I want to continue this series of learning about flora and fauna while also finishing these pages of illustrations. I wanted to create a new botanical illustration, and as usual, I'm not completely satisfied with this page. I think I will revisit it later to adjust the composition and perhaps further render some of the flowers' heads. These studies aren't finished to the quality I usually aim for, but for now I'm keeping them as quick studies. My goal is to capture the shapes of the plants to improve my design skills and to get the colors right. I always feel I need to improve in coloring, so even though these aren't fully finished, they give me the chance to study and refine the things I want to get better at. Sometimes it feels like I'm not making progress or even going backward, but as I've mentioned before, I've been feeling a bit down lately, and a lack of motivation can show in your work. Overall, I'm happy with this page. I've learned a lot about daffodils and had the opportunity to draw many beautiful flower heads. It was a fun experience, and I'll keep going and look forward to the next species study.